Hello, my name is Michael Knight, the New York Cowboy. I'm going to read you one of the stories from the Street Stories NYC Series. This is from the fourth book, Yankee Stadium Stories. The story is called Nikki, the Hot Dog Girl. Nikki was the hot dog girl at the new Yankee Stadium since it opened. Nikki sold more hot dogs than most of the men and women that worked with her. She absolutely loved her job. Nikki was a very energetic girl. Her husband Richard praised her all the time to everyone. He confessed that she truly wore the pants in the house because he couldn't keep up with her. She was up every day at 5 in the morning, and she didn't usually go to bed until midnight. Nikki's girlfriend Barbara had come to live with Richard and Nikki for about a year now after breaking up with her husband. She was the one that got Nikki the job at Yankee Stadium. Barbara did a lot of public relations work for the stadium, and she had a lot of pull with the human resources department. She knew that Nikki would be perfect for the job with all of the energy that she had. Nikki didn't have any children, and she had suffered a miscarriage before she started her job after 5 months of her pregnancy. She cried terribly, more for her husband's sake than her own. She knew he wanted a baby, and she felt that she really let him down. She was very jealous over him, and she would call and check on him several times a day. After the miscarriage, he seemed to behave differently towards her. Around that time, Barbara moved in, and it seemed like the tension in the air was lifted. Some nights they would all play cards and talk and laugh until bedtime. Barbara was Nikki's friend from childhood, and she trusted her with everything, including her husband. Nikki's shifts varied around game times. Her schedule allowed her to see all of the Yankee games. She thought it was a great perk to not only see the games, but to make money and be outside all day and night. She didn't even mind if it rained and she got wet, if the sun came back out and she finished out the game. She loved getting wet and the attention that the men would give her when her t-shirt got wet. It seemed like she sold more hot dogs on those days than any others. Her husband worked in an office in Manhattan from 9 to 5 as a computer programmer. He also designed different types of software. He made great money, and Nikki really didn't have to work, but with no kids and all of her energy, she had to do something. When Barbara came up with the idea, she gladly accepted. Barbara would sit in on a lot of the games that the Yankees had. She would sit down front, and no matter where Nikki was, she would always come down and bring Barbara's favorite meal, a beer and a hot dog, 2 or 3 times a game. Barbara would usually leave the game smashed and full. This particular day, Nikki got to work, and she just wasn't herself. Her monthly cycle was a couple of weeks late, and she was feeling kind of weird, and she felt like she had cramps. Not sure what was going on, she asked the supervisor if she could leave. She left and went straight to her doctor's office, and he confirmed her suspicions. She was pregnant. She was overjoyed and headed straight home. She was going to cook a great meal for Dick, as she affectionately called Richard, and she was going to break the news to him. She got home and she decided not to put her car in their 2-car garage, because she might need to go to the store to pick up some odds and ends to spice up the meal, maybe even some champagne. As she opened the front door, she heard the air conditioner running upstairs in the bedroom. She wondered if she had left it on, or did Dick leave it on after her? Did he leave after her and forget to turn it off? His car wasn't outside in the driveway, and she wondered if it was inside the garage, and why would it be in there? She got up the stairs, and now she could hear more than the air conditioner. It sounded like moaning. There was only a small sliver of a crack in the doorway to see inside, and to her horror, there were Dick and Barbara making love in her marriage bed. She put her hand over her mouth to prevent her from screaming, and she swiftly crept out of the house and drove off. She went back to work and told the supervisor that she was fine, and she finished out her work day shouting, "Hey, hot dog! Hot dog's over here!" That night when she got home, she acted like she had never seen anything, and Dick and Barbara played along, thinking that their secret was safe. Now Nikki hated Barbara, but she hated Dick even more. She never even told him that she was pregnant that night, and after he fell asleep, she put a pillow over his head and drove an ice pick into his ear and into his brain. She held the pillow over his mouth until he stopped moving and breathing. The next morning, she got up and locked the bedroom door. She waited for Barbara to leave and told her that Dick was feeling tired and he might not go in today. She told her that he said he just wanted to sleep late. Barbara told her that she would be at the game today and she'd be looking for her favorite meal around the 3rd inning. Nikki assured her that she would be there. Nikki went into work as usual and visited Barbara a few times before the game was over. That night, when Barbara pulled up close to the house, she saw flashing lights and police cars everywhere. The police were taking Nikki away in handcuffs as she pulled up. At the trial, the jury had no trouble finding Nikki guilty of murder, but they deliberated a long time to decide if it was a crime of passion or first-degree murder. When asked if she had anything to say, Nikki calmly looked at the judge and remarked, "I'm sure that the biggest question that all of you have is, what happened to my husband's private parts?" She said, "After I cut it off, I boiled it to make it nice and soft. Then I put it in a bag and took it to work. I went behind the counter and I reheated it and put it on a hot dog bun and covered it with ketchup and mustard, just the way Barbara likes it. Then I gave it to my good friend to eat, and I watched as she jumped up when one of the Yanks got a hit, and then she devoured it and washed it down with a beer." Barbara could be seen running from the courtroom, vomiting violently. And as Nikki was being led away, she shouted out, "I hope you enjoyed Dick's Dick." That's the end of our story, and I hope you'll check out the books. Street Stories New York City, Volume 1, Hurricane Sandy, NYPD Edition, and Yankee Stadium Stories. Take care till next time.